Before we begin the video, I would like to give a big thank you to those who have paid tribute so far. Captain Kohei, Rodney Huggins, TNT Fox, Jorgen Hilson, Eric, Grimex Law 22, Trey, Jicanator 78, Potter Brony, Chris Alfred, Andrew Top, Teresa Harrison, Corey Costello, and Jeffrey Maple. Thank you very much for your support, and if you wish to pay tribute as well, feel free to click the link below to go to our Patreon to find out more. I'll see you there.
Ooh boy. Well, gentlemen, it is officially here. Ganondorf versus Dracula, Legend of Zelda versus Castlevania, Death Battle. Oh boy. Because both of these characters are pretty ridiculously strong villains. In both games, it takes you literally getting everything to throw at him, including the kitchen sink. And unless you've like studied the patterns of the battle and all this and all that, you're going to you're gonna have to learn the patterns, or else you're still gonna get your shit pushed in most of the time.
Yep.
Pretty much neither of them actually ever permanently get defeated.
No.
Like,
See,
neither of them ever
Dracula's
100%
basically
dies.
Lucifer. He's pretty much immortal. Ganondorf,
As long as he possesses the Triforce of Power, he can't be killed.
Dies. I mean, he always ends up coming back. I think as far as power-wise, I think Dracula would win. I'm putting my money on Dracula. Just because he can summon an infinite army of demons, pretty much.
True.
And I just think he's a lot cooler of a character.
I'm going to wait and see what they say about both of them, because I haven't played all of the Castlevania games, so...
They'll probably go over
there's
his
a
origins
freaking
and
lot
stuff
of them,
like that.
but I've played almost every Zelda game.
Yeah, depends on which
But
game.
yeah, my money is kind of like leaning towards Dracula before I hear anything, so we'll see how it stands after we hear the breakdowns.
Well, let's see what this is all about. I mean, let's just dive in.
I love
games-
Ganondorf.
games
Ganondorf's one of my
love-
favorite villains of all time,
Really?
but yeah. I still
I think
like...
game-wise, I like Zelda game franchise.
That's usually
better.
where a lot of people lean, because Legend of Zelda mostly has had nothing but pristine games.
Yes. There's been a few, more than a few crappy Castlevania games.
Well, Castlevania games, I mean, they started out with a great one, and then the second one, which tried to introduce more RPG elements, suffered. Although it had some interesting stuff in it, it suffered. I mean, let's just be honest.
Yeah, they were just all ridiculously hard.
And then 3 righted the ship, and then Super Castlevania 4 went ridiculously overpowered with its protagonist, but still the journey was ridiculously long, so you didn't really mind. And then we jumped then a little bit later we jumped into probably the best era of Castlevania, when Igarashi had full control over the productions, and we got Symphony of the Night.
It's just still the best one, in my opinion.
In my opinion, it is
Hands
as well.
down.
And then
It's
you
never been
had
topped.
a foray into 3D with Castlevania 64, which was not so good. But
As a kid, I still really enjoyed it.
No,
but
fair enough.
Going
fair
back and playing it now, it's really bad.
yeah,
Right.
which I will say this as well. The handhelds had some.
Also, it
great
did
ones
have
as
the
well.
best opening theme of any game. That is the one majorly
Yeah.
good thing about it.
Copyright
The violin.
claim.
So good.
But then, of course, we got into when the handhelds really took over.
The handheld games are mostly bitching from what I played.
Yeah, Circle of the Moon, Lemons of Innocence, and then Aria of Sorrow, and Harmony of Dissonance.
Yeah.
I
I love Harmony of Dissonance. So
and then
good. I think Harmony is probably my favorite Castlevania other than Symphony of the Night.
I'd put Circle of the Moon up there. Circle of the Moon I like a lot.
Yeah, it's in my top 5 at least.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and then the 3DS ones weren't bad either.
No.
Other than Jonathon. like whatever her name is. Charlotte, Jonathon, Jonathon.
Johnny Charlotte. Let's just call it that.
They could have done with an option to turn that off when you switch characters.
But yeah, needless to say, after that, the Castlevania games sort of took a little bit of a dive. They tried to be God of War, and it, for the most part, didn't work.
I love it.
No. I agree that it has some good stuff in it, but me, where I played the God of War games, and where I'm so used to Castlevania being a certain way, it threw me off in the beginning, and I can at least relent and say the first one is very good with its presentation and with the music.
I never played the second because I heard that the second was not made as well.
No.
But the first one I actually really did enjoy for what it was. So, I mean, I know it wasn't exactly the same as Castlevania, but for a 3D attempt at a Castlevania, that's definitely the best one they did.
Yeah.
The 3D ones on PS2 I heard were okay, but never really got to play them either.
I didn't much care for the one.
They were iffy. But, all right.
But enough talk.
How about you?
How about you?
Fame may be fleeting, and wealth ephemeral, but true evil never dies.
It just comes back with a goddamn
That's
second
Calamity
health
Ganon.
bar.
Ganondorf,
That's
the
not
calamitous
Ganondorf?
demon king
There
of
you go.
Princess Zelda's Hyrule.
And Dracula, the everlasting vampire lord of Castlevania. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
Also, the end sequence of
Millennia
Ocarina of Time
ago,
is still one
in
of my
an
favorite boss
age-long
fights of all
past,
time.
the Demon King Demise
Series of
threatened to
boss
pull the
fights.
world into blood and war.
Until he got his ass slapped by this pointy-eared boy in green.
Undaunted by being, murdered, Demise cursed the blood of the goddess and the spirit of the hero to be forever haunted by his wrath made flesh. That curse became Ganondorf Dragmire.
Good old Dorf was born to the Gerudo tribe of the desert. Thing is, the Gerudo were all ladies, and Ganondorf was the first male born in 100 years, which automatically made him their king. Because... reasons, I guess? Wait, so he gets to be in charge and has the best odds on Tinder? That's my dream come true. Who could want more?
Ganondorf could. Jealous of the neighboring kingdom of Hyrule's verdant fields, clean water, and not being a godforsaken desert, he dreamed of a better world for his people.
Or, just for himself.
Yeah, I actually
Being the
never realized he had a
reincarnation of
last
ultimate
name.
evil means you're probably kind of a selfish douche.
And surprisingly, his vile ambitions would be rewarded. Turns out, he was also preternaturally adept at magic, as befits an education from his caretakers, the witches Kawume and Kotake.
From them, Dorf learned to pitch balls of electricity, summon lightning, move objects with telekinesis, levitate, form barriers, and control minds.
When he wishes to fight from a distance, he can create phantom horsemen or puppets of himself to battle as his proxies.
Or if he wants to get personal, he can use his dark magic to enhance his physical strengths, making him a badass at all ranges.
He's a master with a blade, sometimes two, and sometimes on horseback.
And sometimes 2 swords on 2 horsebacks?
Let's not get crazy. He was just a man, after all, though not for long. With his magical training complete, Ganondorf put his greatest skill to the test, his raw cunning, by manipulating the rulers of Hyrule and its neighboring domains, as well as a curiously familiar boy in green.
Hey, what do you know? Weird coincidence.
Ganondorf gained entry to an alternate dimension called the Sacred Realm. Within it lay the Triforce, a magical artifact left by the gods said to grant the wish of whomever touches it.
The perfect solution to all your world-conquering needs. Except once Ganondorf got his hands on those golden Doritos, 2 of them jumped ship.
See, only someone with a perfect balance of courage, wisdom, and power can wield the complete Triforce. If someone with an imbalance between those 3 virtues touches it, it splits. In this case, the pieces of wisdom and courage went to Ganondorf's enemies, Princess Zelda and the hero Link.
That's embarrassing. But he did get to keep the Triforce of Power, because who needs the courage and wisdom shit when you can just blow stuff up? That's how I live.
Even on its own, the Triforce of Power radically improved Ganondorf's strength and magical prowess, while also elevating him from a mere warlock to the Demon King he was always meant to be.
Literally, he can turn into a big blue pig monster.
The dark beast known simply as Ganon is a nearly unstoppable terror, gaining even greater strength without sacrificing any of his intellect.
As a bacon wizard, he can obliterate foes with fireballs, turn invisible, teleport, summon darkness, and even distort the space around him.
Despite all that power and even successfully ruling Hyrule for 7 years, Ganondorf was soundly defeated and sealed within the Sacred Realm. There he remained, trapped outside the spaces of reality, a prisoner to the void between space and time, never to return ever again.
Sorry. I couldn't keep a straight face.
Yeah, no, he got out like the next day.
So nothing holds Ganon back for long, and he's insanely tough to kill. In fact, thanks to his part of the Triforce, he's almost indestructible. While most weapons can technically harm him, it usually takes a holy weapon like the Master Sword or light arrows to put him down.
He once survived being crushed within his own castle, which, based on its size and composition here, and accounting for the hollowed-out interior, should weigh over 11,000 tons.
Even better, he later withstood a different castle exploding around him. Wow, some of this guy in castles.
By measuring the size of the in-game castle model and assuming violent fragmentation, we can determine it was a blast worth almost 2 kilotons of TNT, a yield comparable to early atomic bombs. And even though holy weapons can bypass his defenses, he still survived being stabbed in the face with the Master Sword. You know, the literal blade of evil's bane.
Or like when he was impaled through the chest by one of the sages after he was supposedly sealed away. He just yanked that shit right out and murdered the bastards that did it to him. Heads up, Wiz, you ever stab me again and that's what's happening to you.
Right. Well, Ganondorf isn't just tough. He's powerful enough to punch shockwaves, tear up an island, and block out the sky with his magical malice.
Plus, he can keep up with Link. He's even killed him in one timeline. And this fairy boy can dodge Beamos lasers.
Which are literal lasers. They move in a straight line, burn instead of exploding, and according to the game's guidebook, are called lasers. So they should move at light speed. Based on the distance Link moved relative to this beam, we can estimate his own reaction speed to be about 11% the speed of light.
Too bad old Dorf Lundgren doesn't get to hold on to Hyrule for too long. Still, you can stab and seal him away all you want. This big pork bastard will always be back to bring about your crispy demise.
In the world of Castlevania, the universe is governed by 2 opposing forces, order and chaos.
Hey, it's like you and me, Wiz.
No, I mean literally. As legend goes, for God to be good, there must be an equal force of evil to create balance. An evil found in an alternate dimension called the Chaotic Realm. This is Chaos.
But to keep his spot in the balance on Earth, Chaos needed to choose a Dark Lord to represent him. A Dark Messiah, if you will. As luck would have it, a perfect candidate would end up choosing him.
In the 11th century, Matthias Kronkvist was the strategic mastermind behind a company of knights, alongside fellow commander and best friend, Leon Belmont.
But, as with most bromances, it got screwed up by a homance.
Boomstick, have some tact. His wife died from a horrible illness.
Was it third wheeling? I'm sorry, Wiz, but you can already tell this guy is evil because his name is Math. I mean, I know we use math all the time to do the show, but sometimes one must embrace the darkness to see the light.
Right. Anyway, Matthias' grief was so intense, he swore vengeance on God himself. To achieve his vengeance, Matthias sought the powers of God's polar opposite, chaos.
So he set up an easy 6-step plan. Step 1, pick up a red rock called the Crimson Stone. It'll be important later. Step 2, force death itself to become your personal secretary. Step 3, kill Luigi. Step 4, convince a vampire named Walter to kill Leon's fiancée, cause misery loves company. Step 5, let Leon murder poor Walt and have death shove his soul into that red rock. Step 6, congratulations, you are now a vampire. Goth kids, I hope you were paying attention.
From that day forth, Matthias rejected his humanity. He became a vampire, and much more. He was the Dark Lord, Dracula.
There have been a lot of different versions of Dracula over the years, but this one isn't your run-of-the-mill, I want to suck your blood type. This Dracula is the avatar of chaos on Earth, the opposite to God. So, like, the devil. He's basically the devil.
He didn't have much time to enjoy his new powers, though, as his former friend Leon swore revenge, a vow which would carry on throughout generations.
But good luck taking down this all-new and improved Vampire Lord. He's got your standard vampire loadout like blood-sucking, flight, razor-sharp claws, telekinesis, and even tripping balls teleportation.
He can also exert his influence over all living things, whether it be mind control, body possession, or absorbing the souls and abilities of fallen enemies through his power of dominance.
Oh, like Kirby.
A demonic monster Kirby.
Right, Kirby. Also, Dracula can shapeshift to his black heart's desire, like into a swarm of bats, a cloud of mist, and a wolf. Oh, I get it. The opposite to God, because he's a dog just like the way Alucard is Dracula backwards. God, I should do science.
He's also a master sorcerer, able to summon fireballs, meteors, and acid blood rain from the sky. Dark Inferno is a huge ball of magma that will fry anything in its path, and he can revitalize himself with another's life energy via Soul Steel.
Then there's his most powerful attack, a localized nuke of holy magic, the demonic Megiddo.
With all these powers, it's no wonder Europe trembled at his presence for centuries, though perhaps their fears were unfounded.
Yeah, despite being living chaos or whatever, Dracula was sometimes a pretty chill guy. He even got himself married and had a kid. Then again, kids are also the embodiment of chaos.
Sadly, the people of a nearby church grew suspect of his wife, accusing her of witchcraft. So they burned her at the stake, and Dracula swore vengeance upon the god they followed as...
Wait. Did he just get a total repeat of his backstory?
Yep.
Man, this guy can't catch a break.
He was even forced to battle
chose to
multiple
love again,
descendants
and when
of
he finally
Belmont,
did, they
many of whom
burned
would
her alive.
actually defeat him.
Well, sort of. Turns out Dracula is a much tougher vampire to kill than lame old Walter.
Even after losing his entire body, Dracula's soul remained tethered to chaos.
She was the
Thus,
only
he
thing
would
holding
be
him back from
resurrected every
slaughtering
100 years.
When he wants to go all out, he can draw from the power of the chaotic realm and transform into one of many awesome monsters. Like a giant demon bird, a giant demon head, and a giant demon head in a painting that vomits out bats.
Dracula can punch hard enough to rend stone, move quick enough to catch arrows out of thin air, and even warp the fabric of reality itself.
He's tough enough to survive a lightning strike, get blasted by an enormous meteor, and even get crushed under the weight of his fortress, aka the Castlevania.
By measuring the size of Castlevania on the game's official art, we know it should weigh around 2 million tons. Even then, Dracula has regenerated his body from decapitation, a mess of blood, and even full-on disintegration.
So how the hell does he keep getting killed by everyone from Discount Conan to the Ghost of Weeb's Past?
Naturally, with the help of holy weapons, which Dracula is certainly not a fan of.
Also, even when he's turned his body into some misty vape clouds, he keeps his head vulnerable. Because video games.
Or more precisely, his hubris. Dracula's blatant arrogance would lead to his ultimate downfall, allowing his enemies to sever his connection to the chaotic realm and thus end his cycle of resurrections. So instead, he was reincarnated.
Into a white-haired anime boy with the power of friendship. Soma Cruz, who turned out to be just as powerful as Dracula Classic, like when he dodged beams of light or when he defeated chaos itself.
Dracula's influence and power would never truly end. Even 10,000 years into the future, his bloodline continues to strike terror into the hearts of men. As long as good and evil exist,
Hold up, that's his kid? What the hell happened to him?
no ordinary man can stand up to the incredible force that is the Dark Lord Dracula.
Behold my true form and despair!
Such a cool voice line.
All right, the combatants are set, and we've run the data through all possibilities.
But first,
Yeah, so I think I'm still going with Dracula.
I'm still going with Dracula. Was being a fan of
Oh!
like the series and stuff. Yeah, I don't really feel like it went to the full extent of how powerful Dracula actually is.
Like, honestly, I
then
think...
again, you know, I mean, I didn't realize that much about Ganon either.
Yeah, between these two, like, only holy weapons harm them. Ganon doesn't have anything holy to use against Dracula.
And I noticed that you
And
can beat
Dracula
Ganon
can
without
alter
full-
reality. So Dracula might be able to alter reality to a point that he can actually defeat Ganon without needing a holy weapon.
Maybe. But it also said Ganon can warp space and time too, though. So
Yeah, he's escaped from some
kind-
places.
like,
I would say, like, realistically, if you pit them against each other, there would be no winner. You'd have a battle that lasted for eternity, essentially.
yeah, that's kind of what I
But
feel.
like, just in terms of like
So
them
Chuck
probably,
Norris versus Segata Sanshiro.
yeah, so, like, but basically, like, you know, they're gonna pick a winner for just this one battle, and it's probably gonna be Dracula. Dracula's gonna come out on top.
I mean, I want to say Dracula. I'd say they'll probably pick Ganon simply because Zelda's a more popular franchise. than
No,
Castlevania
they-
is.
I don't think they usually do that with these.
No.
I hope not. I hope there's
Yeah.
no biasism because of it.
Well,
We'll see, though. We'll see.
Because they let Lucy kill Carnage.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, Lucy from Elfenlied killed
Carnage is
Oh,
much
yeah.
is
Yeah.
like
Well,
here in the West.
Yeah,
is
Marvel's
much more
way more
popular.
well known than Elfenlied is.
Elfin Leads
so.
are just infinitely powerful. I mean, if you come in close range, that's a whole different battle.
Well,
Sorry,
also,
haven't seen
I don't know
that,
if you've
but-
read the manga, but she gets even more powerful in the manga than she is at
I've
the end of the
heard.
anime.
I've heard. Haven't
Yeah.
read the manga.
All right. So, all that being said, though, we have this here. So we have 2 for Dracula. I'm going Ganon. Just to try and
I
be
like
different.
Ganon more, so I want to go Ganon, but I just don't think
You,
in
yeah,
this situation that I can really say that he's gonna be a match.
yeah. I understand. It's all well and good, man. I mean, I just want to see what's gonna happen. So here we go.
All right. They're framing this as Ganon's coming in to take his castle from him. Kind of looks that way.
Your castle is lost, vampire. No man can challenge my power.
This castle
But what
can
is
fly.
a man?
Yes!
A miserable pile of secrets.
Miss
I'm
me.
no mere man. Your tricks mean nothing.
Use a Triforce of Power.
I'm stoked because I think they're both going to transform before this fight's over.
Oh, I think
I
so
know.
too.
And it's going to be bitching. It's already bitching.
Well, this 3D animation is really good.
Yeah.
Decapitation!
Decapitation!
Oh, here comes the demon. Which Ganon are we gonna get?
I think Ganon might have this because usually the one that transforms first is going to lose. This looks like Ocarina of Time Ganon.
I am no simple vampire. I am a god.
Uh-oh.
teleported the city.
He killed him.
You're right. You're not a man. You're a pig. Let me hear you squeal.
Organ makes a comeback.
Nope. Ganon couldn't make a comeback because
He already used it.
You know, I hope someday I can learn to drink beers as violently as Dracula drinks people.
There was a lot going on here. Both Ganondorf and Dracula show similar reaction speeds, with only a small % difference when compared to the speed of light. They were both brilliant schemers who have perfectly manipulated many intelligent foes, and their standard magical arsenals seem pretty comparable overall.
But Dracula did have a leg up with a few extra magic powers that Ganondorf just didn't have. Like how he could rip out his soul in a bunch of different ways. That's something Ganondorf never really had to guard against before. Also, remember how Ganondorf survived an explosion worth about 2 kilotons of TNT?
An admirable feat to be sure, but let's look at that meteor strike Dracula survived. Based on its size, composition, and speed of ablation, it must have struck with an energy equivalent to 2 megatons of TNT, 1,000 times greater than Ganondorf's proven durability.
But hey, I know what you're thinking. What about that sage sword Ganondorf had? Shouldn't he have had an easy time killing Drac since it's a holy weapon?
In some circumstances, sure. Running this fight over and over 100 times, Ganondorf would certainly score a few victories. But when considering Dracula's absurd regenerative abilities, it would take more than just a few hits from a holy weapon to finish him off. Not to mention, Dracula also wielded a holy weapon that took advantage of Ganondorf's weakness in the form of demonic Megiddo. Yeah, I know it's called demonic, so it seems weird, but it is explicitly described to be holy magic.
And dropping a holy nuke on Ganondorf
I didn't realize
was a
either of
way
them
more
had holy
powerful
stuff.
victory move than trying to hit Dracula with a sword. And that's really what this came down to. Power.
Despite literally wielding the Triforce of Power, Ganondorf's potential paled in comparison to the energy Dracula drew from Chaos. Let's put this in perspective.
The Triforce of Power comes from the goddess Din, who made the Earth. While we don't know the exact amount of power Din put in this piece, let's just highball it and directly compare it to her.
So the energy attributed to the Triforce of Power could be compared to the size and energy of a planet. However, the Chaotic Realm is an entire universe, completely upheld by the power of the Chaos entity. That is leagues greater than the power Ganondorf possessed.
So it definitely had a lot more juice to give.
Try thinking of the Chaotic Realm and the Triforce of Power as batteries, which fuel Dracula and Ganon's abilities. Compared to each other, Dracula would be drawing energy from something like a car battery, while Ganondorf's would be more akin to a small AA.
Wiz, I'll give you $5 if you lick that battery.
Ganondorf certainly held his own, but Dracula's more varied magic, greater regeneration, and enormous reserves of power sealed this desert warlock's fate.
Of all the ways to go, that must have sucked. The big pig's chances were slim to gan none.
The winner is Dracula.
Yeah. So yeah,
For a second there, I thought they were gonna be
I
doing
thought they
it
were going
like,
to give it again, and
yeah,
I figured he was getting ready to pull something right out of his ass last second.
yeah,
Like,
because Dracula had to transform
like,
first, so I was like, oh, he might actually be in trouble, but nope.
I think it seemed that Ganon was in trouble most of that fight. Yeah, I mean, he was pretty much walked into a losing battle. I mean, he did get the cool upper hand when he cut off his head. And
Oh, yeah.
everything. So in that form, yeah, he kind of won that form. But when it came to the transformation, yeah, it just
Dracula had just too much firepower, man.
yeah.
He had
That,
way
I
too
mean,
much
even if he
firepower.
killed that form, he could have just kept transforming instantaneously. Like,
Yeah.
and that's
I'm
the
pretty
thing.
sure
Ganon usually
in,
dies and goes away for a long time before he ever comes back. You know, he usually just doesn't transform instantly over and over and over and over.
I think in shoot, what was the not Castlevania 64, but the sequel to it that was also on 64 in a 3D? So it was set in like the same layout and the same engine and stuff. Legacy of Darkness.
Yes.
Yeah, like where he plays the werewolf dude. Pretty sure Dracula transforms twice in that one, if I remember right. Because you fight him once regular, and then he transforms into a semi-large demon, and then for the end he transforms into like a big fuck-all demon in like the Chaos Realm and shit. Like so.
Damn.
Like, he can transform again, I believe, after
Oh
that
yeah,
one.
he can transfer multiple times. I mean,
What'd you think, Nathan?
I
Like,
figured
do you
Ganon was
agree?
going to
Do you
lose.
agree with that?
I
or-
do, for the most part. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But I will say this, Ganon,
Think-
I
You
pulled
just
for
wanted
Ganon.
to do the other pick just so we don't have a full couch
yeah,
on one
yeah,
side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'd have felt 100% confident on it, I would have said Dracula, but I still had the doubt in my mind. I'm just like...
I was
just-
not confident in it at all because they've done a lot more research than I have, so it's kind of like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I just picked with the one I'm kind of a fan of, to be honest.
The only thing is, like, I feel like Ganon is something kind of next level in Breath of the Wild, and they didn't really give him anything from that, it didn't seem like.
Calamity Ganon?
Yeah, Calamity Ganon seems a little next level compared to, like, everything he's been before that.
Yeah.
And I feel like if he could have gone Calamity, he might have been able to do better,
But
but it
the
seems like they
problem
just kind of
is-
threw that out.
Well, the problem is we don't know where Breath of the Wild is on the Zelda timeline.
Yeah, but the theory that I accept is it's the end, the very end of
one
all
thing,
three timelines.
I don't know.
Well, they said in Breath of the Wild, Calamity Ganon took 100 years to build up. And then once he devastated the land, whatever, then when Link went bye-bye, went night-night for 100 years and came back. So basically that's 200 years of power of constantly growing and building.
Yeah, because the
And-
way they made it sound to me was like
Basically-
he was the same Ganon from Ocarina of Time that had escaped from the gap between dimensions.
Yeah, so I
And
mean,
he
I'm
had to
not,
basically build up to be powerful enough to do that
to
to
break,
start
break
with.
through Zelda's seal, and finally she exhausts.
I also noticed they said they banished him to the Sacred Realm, but I'm pretty sure Zelda says in the end of Ocarina of Time that she's banishing him to the gap between dimensions, like so
Yeah, I
not the
can't
Sacred
remember
Realm,
on
but
that-
in
on
between
that note.
realms.
I mean, I haven't beat Ocarina of Time in years, but Breath of the Wild pretty recently. Yeah, Calamity Ganon definitely shows a lot more powerful, but I don't even think that Calamity Ganon could touch Dracula unless you include that as another form, an extra form, like an instant form. But it takes
Yeah,
200 years
maybe
to get
not.
to that form.
But if
So-
you think about it, like Link not only had to fight him and beat him himself, and technically you can beat him with just Link, but it's real fucking hard. But I mean, like those 4 divine beasts were key to actually shutting his power down enough for Link to be able to defeat him technically.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm pretty sure it's like the canon ending that you actually activate the 4 divine beasts before you go
Yeah, that's
fight
what I
him.
did. I didn't fight him head on. Hell no.
Yeah.
Once everything kills you in one hit, I was like, nope, I'm not trying this one. I mean, even at half health, it takes a while to get his health down. You know, at full health with like gear that breaks on every 2 hits. Yeah, right. There's no way.
No.
You know,
So that's why I went and got the Master Sword before I went to fight him.
I did.
No
I did
fucking
too.
way
I
I'm
got
doing
that,
this without
the
the Master
Hyrule
Sword.
Shield. The Hyrule Shield you got in the castle.
I actually didn't know how to get the shield, so but I looked up
yeah.
how to get the sword after a point. I was like, I gotta get it.
It's actually really easy to get that shield as long as you can defeat one of the skeletal things. Anyway, that's enough Zelda talk. Yeah, I'm actually kind of happy we watched that because now I know a little bit more about both characters because I learned stuff from both of them. I did not realize a lot of Ganon's backstory stuff.
Have you played the Castlevania games, or have you just watched the anime?
I have watched the anime and I've played 1, 2, 3, and the first one that was on Super Nintendo, I believe.
Okay.
So
So you
I've
ever
actually
played
got,
Symphony
I've
of the
actually
Night?
got all of them. I haven't had any one from the PlayStation 1 and up. I haven't played any of them.
Symphony, though. You
Dude.
need to play Symphony.
Yeah, you need to stream Symphony of the Night sometime.
Sure, I'm
Like-
down. I like
'Cause
Castlevania.
it's-
I'll help you out with it.
Yeah, I didn't really get cool into it until the anime, the Netflix. I know it's got bad reviews. I don't care.
What?
I love it. I
Wait,
think
No,
it's
no,
awesome.
Netflix
no.
anime?
No,
The
the show on
Castlevania
no,
Netflix show?
the show on Netflix has actually really
No,
good
like,
reviews.
yeah, it's got good reviews from what I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard nothing but people shit on that show.
Really?
Yeah, I mean I
That's weird.
haven't even met another person that even likes it.
Like a lot of people on the
I'm just
channel.
like I love this show.
A lot of people on the channel like it, wanted us to react to the season 2 and stuff. Sorry I didn't wait. So the reason we haven't reacted to that is because I watched it as soon as it came out. So, but yeah, me and Andrew fucking love it. I've talked to other people that love it. Like I thought it was badass, and I really like appreciated
Season
like
3 has been
how they did
greenlit.
it and how they did the lore and stuff,
Yeah.
and how they use certain characters from certain games as well in it.
Yeah, it's actually one of the very few games where I really completely just hope the antagonist wins. pretty much the whole time. You know, because I mean, I just
You
like
think
I think
Dracula's
he's
that cool?
his story is so brutally, like, oh my god, I would probably do the same thing. Well, at least not the whole world, but he didn't really start a war with the whole world. He just did that whole town.
Yeah.
Or I guess the whole country's out of it.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking on here at the, what Adi Shankar did with Adi Shankar's version of, Castlevania.
Yeah. Well, I was really upset that the fact that the first season was only, 3 episodes?
It wasn't very long.
It was like 3 episodes, and then season 2 was like finally I think
4. It was 4 episodes and then 8 episodes.
Yeah, so that was
Yeah.
nuts in there because I was getting into that shit, and I was like, it's already over. What?
Yeah.
No. And I
Yeah.
waited like a year.
Thankfully, though,
for 8
season
more
3 will
episodes.
have 10 episodes.
I hope so. I don't know.
They're setting up
that's
some
my
pretty
kinda
cool stuff with
anime.
it. So I'm wondering if they're planning, if they get to keep going, to start to go through some of the timelines from the games at a point. Like, because they already got like certain characters from the games.
Well, they started off with Simon Belmont, which the other stuff would have to be prequels.
They also have
Simon Belmont's like right in the middle of his full development.
that one dude that's like his blacksmith is the protagonist from one of the PS2 games. And I think some of the other characters are possibly like mentioned at points, but I can't remember exactly who. Obviously, Alucard,
Yeah.
is in it.
I thought his character was cool in the anime too. He came up out of that coffin. It's just because everybody thought that he was like God or he was like no, he's a vampire. It's like,
Yeah.
then I don't know. Simon's a cool character too, you know.
Actually, when I first watched it, I'm just like, wait, is that Micah? Because we thought he was he was Micah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were just like, that's so much like Micah, and then he's just like, what's your name? Jesus of Nazareth. It's like Micah. Okay, makes sense now. Because
Well, it couldn't have been them because when it shows the story of Dracula at the beginning of it, before it actually introduces Simon, basically the other knights had pretty much died before that, so
yeah, and then of
they're
course
different spot in the timeline, pretty much. Now
Yeah.
I don't know about this other one where he said where he looked all cartoon, that cartoony version.
where he turns into
I wasn't even aware of
Soma Cruz.
Yeah, I'm not even familiar with what that is.
Yeah,
I'm
it's,
lost on that whole.
two of
second.
the Game Boy Advance games.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Harmony is
explain.
actually one of those, isn't it?
Huh?
Harmony of Dissonance, isn't that one of the Soma games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harmony of Dissonance, a lot of people considered it to be like a return to form.
Soma is really cool because of the way his mechanics work in the game. Like, if I remember correctly, he's the character that like siphons like the souls of everything he kills and uses them as weapons, right?
I think so.
Well,
All right. Well, we're going to get off this, ladies and gentlemen. We hope
That
that
was
you all have
awesome, though.
enjoyed. This was the death battle, Ganondorf versus Dracula, Castlevania versus Legend of Zelda. We hope you all enjoyed it. If you want to check out more from Death Battle, feel free to do so. Link to the original video in the description down below. And until next time, everybody, signing off, I'm Nate.
I'm Nick.
I'm Jacob.
And we will see you all in the next one. Peace out.